Every day, people experience mysteries that challenge the laws of nature, like enjoying a Coke Zero Sugar. It looks, sounds, and tastes delicious. But how does one explain the great taste if there are 0 calories and 0 sugar? Some mysteries are just too mysterious. Coca-Cola Zero Sugar, unbelievably delicious.
No TV binging session is complete without the unbelievably delicious 0-calorie taste of Coke Zero Sugar.
These days, we're all getting more screen time, which means we're also getting more blue light exposure than ever before. Too much blue light can make your eyes feel tired, dry, or blurry. It can also affect your sleep. Zenni's Blocks lenses help to protect the eyes by keeping harmful blue light out. Because they're virtually clear, add Blocks to any Zenni frame for stylish, all-day protection. Get a complete pair of prescription or non-prescription Blocks glasses starting at just $24. Protect your eyes now at Zenni.com.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net. Christopher Media, let's make some noise. Welcome to Beer Nuts, a weekly excursion into the world of craft beer, brought to you by MichiganBeerGuide.com. And now, here are the Beer Nuts.
All right, show 27. Made it. We're back from spring break. We're tan. We're rested. We're ready to go. My name is Chris. With me from MichiganBeerGuide.com, JR.
Good to be back.
We got Dugout.
Yep, great to be back.
Andy's joining us once again.
Here I am again.
Yeah, Uncle Pete, he'll be back at some point.
He's on extended spring break.
Yeah, Uncle Pete is jobs bouncing him back and forth between Detroit and Chicago, and it's just how it goes. So Uncle Pete.
Well, and he bought a new camper, and so
and I might add, he just recently, like a couple days ago, celebrated his 25th wedding anniversary. So he's got bigger fish to fry right now.
Yeah.
But congratulations, Uncle Pete, on that RV purchase. I look forward to touring the country with you and hitting breweries. I'll pay for the gas.
He's probably getting that thing fitted for a kegerator right now.
I'm sure he is.
Let's see, we were going to get back to the grind, and interesting we use the word grind because today's show is about coffee beers. Correct, JR?
Amen. I love coffee especially coffee beers, because they keep you wide awake. First of all, I love the flavor of coffee. Secondly, I like the little stimulant it provides. And there's some really nice coffee beers out there, including my latest homebrew, which we'll be tasting later this evening.
It's sure cardiologists aren't going to be a fan of this show, but, it is what it is.
Well, keeps them in business.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start off our coffee beer show with a coffee quote, and it's by Lewis Black. I have no idea who Lewis Black is, but I'm guessing he likes his coffee black.
You don't know who Lewis Black is?
I do not.
He's used to be, I don't know if he still is, he's a guy on The Daily Show. His shtick is the angry comedian, the guy who's really uptight and high-strung. But anyways.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess it's appropriate that he's talking about coffee, because you can be high-strung if you like coffee, right?
Yes.
But this is one of those questions, like with my wife, she'll throw out a name of some actor or celebrity that I've never heard of, and my response is, who's he play for? Because I'm a sports nut. If it was a sports personality, I don't know. I know the backup catcher for every American League team, but I don't know who Lewis Black is. So,
gotcha.
That being said, Mr. Black, his quote is, quote, I like coffee because it gives me the illusion that I might be awake.
That reminds me of college.
Very fitting for this show. So we're going to start out tonight's show. The first coffee beer is going to be Cup of Joe by Shorts Brewing, one of Chris's all-time favorites. So, Chris, why don't you take us through Cup of Joe? And before we do that, let's invite all our listeners to join us in a Frosty Friend, or at least semi-Frosty Friend. Don't ever use a Frosty mug. That's just a figure of speech. But, pop open a beer and just relax and have one with us, unless you're on the road, because don't drink and drive. So let's crack that first one open, and we're starting with Shorts Cup of Joe, coffee cream stout.
All right, yeah, this is, you guys showed me this beer a few months ago, and no matter where it is, if I see it, I buy it. I recently ran into a 6-pack on Easter Sunday. Just stopped in to get a bottle of wine, for the family event, and lo and behold, this place had a walk-in beer cooler and had a 6-pack of this in it, so grabbed it. If I didn't know we were doing this show, I would have saved a bottle, but it didn't stand a chance. I mean, right off the bat, you pour it. I mean, it's got what would we call the color of a nice light brownish reddish, tinge of reddish head on this thing.
Mahogany?
That sounds like
It's a good descriptor.
Good descriptor of it, yeah. Steal a term from Dugout here. This is the motor oil beer. There's no light getting through this at all. This is pitch black.
That's just the way Lewis Black likes it.
And the mouthfeel, and it's creamy. It is. Well, it's not that carbonated. It is a stout. I believe you gentlemen throw around the term bomb. I mean, this is a coffee bomb. The reason I love this so much is whenever you, at least in my mind, whenever you've heard the term coffee beer or coffee stout, this is what it should taste like. I mean, it is coffee through and through. It's hard to tell that this is a beer, really. I love this beer.
It's almost like coffee pop.
Coffee pop.
Yeah. Well, it's still sweet, but it doesn't taste like beer. It tastes like coffee.
Everyone I've shown this to who likes coffee and likes beer, they have the same reaction, like, this is dangerous. I believe Aaron's reaction was like, this could lead to a 12-step program. This is very, very, very delicious.
You could probably put it on ice and put some cream in it and not know.
Iced coffee.
I think what I really enjoy about that beer is that the quality of the coffee they're using in it is second to none, and it really comes through in the flavor. I mean, they really go all out with the quality of coffee, and that makes a huge difference. It's just like any other ingredient into your beer. You use the best, you're going to get the best results.
Yeah, I mean, it is coffee front to back.
Well, speaking of that, I'm reading on the label, as you know, I love to do, and it says, made with fair trade coffee, higher grounds coffee. Stout brewed with coffee and milk sugar, the perfect morning nightcapper. So yes, I actually do put a little bit of sweetener in my coffee and one cream usually. So this is just the way I like my coffee. And it's delicious.
Yeah, I guess you do catch a little bit of the sweetness in it, but I mean, if you don't like coffee, this avoid this beer. Because
I put a little sweetener in my coffee, but I like it to be just a subtle sweetness, just a slight. I don't want it to be sugary or sweet.
Yeah.
I use like a half of a sweet and low, and I'm good. So, but yes, another winner from Shorts Brew.
This comes on when in the fall usually.
Yeah, usually I believe around late October, early November.
I have a mission to have this on tap.
We recently had our Shorts Brew episode, and our listeners in the Chicago area are delighted now that they can buy Shorts in Illinois. It used to be in Michigan only, but they opened it up to some surrounding markets. So more and more people will get to enjoy Shorts Brews, including Dugout's sister.
Yeah, she's a fan, man.
I can tell you, Shorts right now is definitely on my. It's top 3 Michigan brewery for me right now. I've currently been going through Shorts phase, so to speak. So,
well, happy to hear that, because I can remember when we first started doing episodes. I don't even know if you ever even knew Shorts existed.
I didn't know who Shorts was till you guys told me about it.
You're coming along nicely, Grasshopper.
Up next, we got Ballast Point Brewing Company's Victory at Sea, and it's a porter with coffee and vanilla. It's ringing in a very svelte 10% ABV. And Ballast Point, being out of San Diego, they do some really phenomenal beers. This is the first of the dark beers I've had from them. Up until now, I've basically had IPAs, and boy, they've been really great. First pour on this one is, it goes along with most of the coffee beers, not all of the coffee beers, but most do have a motor oil kind of viscosity to them. They pour very dark, and at a 10%, you would expect it to be very heavy in the body. There's great, very nice head on this, some nice lacing on the glass. Aromas I'm getting are definitely coffee and vanilla, both there. Very nice complements to each other as well.
Does anyone know here the story with Ballast Point and the names? Because the names of all their beers tend to be like this, for example, Victory at Sea. What's behind Ballast Point and their names? Any of you guys know that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've only rather recent to their products. I mean, they just came to Michigan, although I had stuff from them before. But yeah, not sure on why the names are the way they are. Maybe somebody who's at a keyboard can check that out for us real quick, or maybe somebody can, one of our listeners can kind of fill us in on it.
I know I've seen the illustrator, and he fishes and such, gets on a kayak, catches a fish, makes a label. They have a new one coming out. if you're on their social media, they will send you updates with all these cool pictures of things being drawn.
Very cool.
Yeah. They all seem sea-related. Victory at Sea, Tongue Buckler, Three Sheets, Sea Monsters, Sculpin, Reef, Piper Down, Pescadoro, Navigator, Longfin, Even Keel. So yeah, there's definitely a connection to the water.
Well, and they're in San Diego, so the ocean's right there. That would almost kind of make sense. First sips I get off of this are there's really a beautiful balance between the coffee and vanilla in here. It comes up on the forefront, but also with a really heavy dark roasted malt and quite a nice bitterness to it. I happen to be a fan of black coffee, and this just nails it. But with the vanilla taking a little bit of the edge off, almost adding a touch of sweetness to it. But it's not sweet. It's it just sort of balances everything off together. It does have a kick like a mule. I did a little bit of R&D yesterday when I picked up the 6-pack. Took a couple of them out, polished them off in no time. It goes down smooth. It's dangerous, dangerous, dangerous.
And this is a porter, too, and it comes off as a stout.
Boy, it's got a real kick to it.
This is not my first experience with this. This is the first Ballast Point product I tried, and I definitely liked it. I'm intrigued. I want to try more Ballast Point. Isn't this another brewery that's getting a little flack from getting picked up with their distribution?
Yeah, they were bought out.
Constellation Brands.
Constellation Brands, who also distributes Corona, purchased, and they also have a wine portfolio.
I don't mind because we've gotten everything since.
Yeah, that's the thing about these buyouts. They're not all negative. The ones that buy it and let the brewers alone and let them do their own thing and just basically they're just financially tied, they're fine. But the ones that meddle with the brewing process and the ingredients and the people that brew it, that's where I draw the line where it starts to bother me. I'm just on the Ballast Point website, and the description of the beer from their website, it says, Victory at Sea Imperial Porter with coffee and vanilla, a big porter crafted to weather any storm. Our Victory at Sea Imperial Porter is a bold, smooth brew with just the right amount of sweetness. We infused this robust porter with vanilla and San Diego's own Café Calabria coffee beans. The subtle roasted notes and minimal acidity of the cold brewed coffee balances perfectly with the sweet caramel undertones of the malt, creating a winning combination for your palate. 10% alcohol, 60 IBUs.
And 100% delicious.
I'd agree with you, Christopher. 100% delicious.
If you like a coffee beer, check this one out. Will not disappoint you. And 10%. And they sell 6-packs. Usually the bigger beers, they only give you 4 of them at a time.
Right.
Not Ballast Point.
Then it's $17 out the door for the 6-pack.
Yeah, but if you only need, you're good to go.
Exactly.
It's one thing I'm noticing with better beer. A lot of it's about efficiency, all right?
Yeah, if you're only going to have a couple.
There's no need to ingest 72 ounces of liquid anymore. Well, unless you want to.
Right. Not when you can cover all those bases with maybe 24 ounces.
I like the label graphics, too. It's got a picture of like a skeleton with a captain's hat on and the navigator wheel.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Ballast Point, their label art is all very involved, whether it's this or anything else that I've seen with them. It's someone put some time into their label art. All right, that being said, it's time to move on to the ones that you guys have over there.
Yes, well, I've got a beer from Wicked Weed, which we've had a few Wicked Weed beers on the show before. My friend Ross, that lives in Raleigh, North Carolina, is kind enough to pick up some treats for us, and this is called El Paraiso Imperial Coffee Stout Ale brewed with coffee and cocoa nibs. So Andy and I are going to crack this one open. While you guys are growing your Victory at Sea, we're going to see what this is all about. I've never had it. Have you ever had it, Andy?
I have not.
So let's see what we got here. It's 9.5%.
It smells really good.
Usually Wicked Weed never disappoints, so you want to take it away, Andy, and give us a description of the nose and its appearance and so forth?
It smells like just black coffee. You just brewed. You still smell the coffee maker cooking. It doesn't have any staleness, any additive, just the coffee in the pod, that smell.
It's a great description. That's exactly what it tastes like.
And the head, it was a little head, but faded quickly. Not really impressive.
Unlike the Cup of Joe, there's no cream or sugar in this. This is black coffee.
No, there's no cream.
It's very good.
It is. It's bitter. Wicked Weed is in North Carolina. I've never had coffee beer from them. They're more of a sour place.
They are known for their sours, but they they do have quite a good variety of other beers that aren't sours. The label reads, "Under cold winter skies, we dream of warm summer paradise, of far-off floating islands, where the awakening sense of roasted coffee and husked cocoa nibs restore our work-worn souls. From our first sunrise sip of coffee to our last sunset sip of beer, El Paraiso is the muse of our work and our rest, our ode to every brewer's belief that it takes a lot of good..." Can't read this. Oh, a lot of good coffee to make great beer. So,
I think it's a great beer.
yep, very pleased with it.
Wicked Weed still not available in Michigan, huh?
Not anytime soon.
I think they're just North Carolina only. The good news,
Only.
the good news for us as Beer Nuts is our friend Ross, who actually I invited to Skype in and talk about El Paraiso. He was had other plans for this evening, but I'm sure he'll be on the show at some point, and he has made a point to always notify me when something from Wicked Weed hits the shelves, and so I think we'll have a nice pipeline from him. And likewise, he'll have a nice pipeline of Michigan beers going south to North Carolina on a regular basis, because I've known Ross for over 20 years. So we're going to do a cheers to Ross. Keep those Wicked Weed beers coming up here. We very much appreciate it. And to the brewers at Wicked Weed, we salute you. You make excellent beers, and this is just a long example of the fruits of your labor. So cheers to Wicked Weed, another fantastic beer.
Good reason to go to North Carolina.
To Mayberry. Well, we're going to turn it over to the Andy for this last selection. This is a beer that I have, it's kind of been on my bucket list, so I'm ecstatic that she is kind enough to bring it and share it with us. And it's called Carton Regular Coffee, and I will let Andy introduce her beer.
This is an Imperial Cream Ale from Carton. They're in New Jersey, Atlantic Coast, south of Newark, that area. Small little place. They have a lot of really great beer. I've never had a 12% cream ale ever, but this is supposedly good, so I'm trying it.
Well, I know that it's revered in the beer world, on the beer advocates and great beers of the world, and in trading circles. It's very...
It's the color of an IPA, maybe? Kind of golden.
Yep.
No head. Smells like coffee. Looks like not coffee.
Oh, not at all what I expected.
Well, apparently regular coffee. I did my research. The New Jersey regular coffee is 2 sugars and cream, according to Carton. So that's what it's supposed to taste like. And I think it does.
Oh, Jersey.
I don't really like sweet coffee, but this tastes like it.
Well, I can tell you that my in-laws are from New Jersey, my wife's family, and we often travel there on holiday times to visit with relatives, and I am always on the lookout for these beers, and they are nowhere to be found. They vaporize once they hit the shelf. They don't even make the shelf. They get to the store, and they're like the behind-the-counter thing. Even locally there, we're very, very elusive. Unless you're up near the brewery, I think that's where you can find a lot of it. It's in Atlantic Highlands, which is in northern New Jersey, as Andy mentioned, near Newark, south of Newark, I believe. And I was elated the last time I was there, because every time I look and I get shut out. A few times I found places that you can buy growlers of some of their better beers, but this time I actually found somebody that told me a little tiny liquor store that had growler stations, which in the liquor stores up there, you can actually, they have keg boxes where they sell growler beer. So I figured, well, at least I'll get to get some of the beer in growlers. And lo and behold, I went in there and they had cans of the 077XX, which is their double IPA, which is also very highly sought after. And I got the last 4-packs in that little tiny liquor store, and I got to bring some back and share it with all my Michigan friends. Anyway, if you go to New Jersey,
I go to New Jersey.
Look for this beer, and Chris, you go to New York. It actually, I think, bleeds up into the city because it's in northern Jersey.
You know, I looked. It bleeds up to Newark, then it goes down
to
the
Newark.
coast.
Okay, so you probably have to get it on the other side of the river. But
if you go to their website, they have a very good map. It shows you everything by what they sell, what place, if they sell cans, if they do a bar, if it's growlers, whatever. And you can look at their website, and they'll tell you where you can go.
Last time when I visited Jersey, my family went out to dinner to a seafood restaurant, and they had 2 carton beers there, so I was elated that I had to take it easy because I was with the family, but I snuck in a couple double IPAs. So Carton Brewing, very, very impressive. I'm going to read you the description of Carton Regular Coffee from the Carton Brewing website. A classic Jerseyism is regular coffee. Here, when you order a regular coffee at any place you trust to make a pork roll and cheese, you get a paper cup of coffee with milk and 2 sugars rather than a black coffee that hasn't had the caffeine removed. Acidic, bitter coffee flattened by milk and sweetened. The perfect foil for the salty, unctuous savor of breakfast on a roll. For our homage to Jersey's breakfast beverage, we teamed up with our neighbors at Fair Mountain Coffee Roasters, looking for an elevated version of classic crappy coffee. We chose Mexican Chiapas for its bitterness akin to artichoke, roasting it a little darker than usual, along with Ethiopian Sidamo, with pleasant lemon-like acidity, which we pushed up through fermentation. We added this coffee blend to a high-gravity golden cream ale, contributing our milk and 2 sugars. Drink regular coffee because running over a black beer with coffee is no way to get to work.
I think they also make an Irish coffee version.
Yes, I have seen that, but again, too elusive, I've never got to taste it. As a matter of fact, thank you for supplying this because I have been in search of this for a long time and can never seem to find it. But Andy knows people.
I didn't even try to find. It was given
It found
to me,
you.
So. Yeah, it found me.
Well, like I said, Andy knows people. She has lots of friends.
And I really like this beer. It's ridiculously sweet, really, but it reminds me of my grandma's coffee.
So I like that the beers are actually reminding us, like when you smell them, of different, the black coffee we had, and we had the Shorts was kind of in between the black coffee and this. This is like the real sweet, like the 2 sugars and milk.
This is the I don't like coffee, but I'm drinking it coffee.
Yep, but it is a tasty beer. It's not at all what I'd say.
No.
Thanks again for that wonderful Carton Regular Coffee. It's time to move on to our next beer that Dugout's going to introduce to us. Oddside Ales Hipster Brunch. Take it away, Doug.
All right. What we have here is a stout aged in bourbon barrels with coffee, maple syrup, and bacon. Because, you know what? Everything tastes better with bacon.
Baconator in a bottle.
There was a little bit of chatter around on this batch here that some people had some infected and some people had some of that are sort of tart and off-flavored. You know, we had that same chatter with the Goose Island on the Bourbon County barley wine and the coffee. I lucked out. I didn't have the coffee version. I did have the barley wine, and I lucked out, and that was phenomenal. It was phenomenally drinking beer. I think I've lucked out again here because this is nowhere near anything bad. I mean, this is phenomenal. The nose of it is very heavy bourbon, and the sweetness of maple syrup. The head on it's gorgeous. It's got a real chewy body to it, really thick. You get the coffee is a part of it. It's not, we had some beers earlier where the coffee was the beer, the coffee front and back. This is not that way. The coffee's in there. The bourbon comes and kicks you in the teeth. It's I don't know what the ABV on this. I'm sure it's well over 10, probably closer to 12. If somebody's got that handy.
10%.
10%. Okay, so we're all pretty across the board here with the 10%ers, at least with the Ballast Point and the Hipster Brunch. I had this a year before, and this version of it, compared to the one from what I remember, is leaps and bounds better. It just has more clarity in the ingredients. I believe I had a real hard time getting any bacon out of the other one. This one I do get a touch of it, but I think that's all you really want in a beer. You don't want bacon overpowering it. You just want that little bit of a touch of it in there. Wow, this is fantastic.
And I've had this. I have some in my cellar, but I'm not currently having one. But I can tell you that I agree with everything Dugout said. It's wonderful beer. There are some rumors going around that the beer is turning tart. I have yet to experience that, but I have other people that swear that that's happened to their beer. So I think what a lot of people are saying, at least through the rumor mill, is drink it now because they're afraid it'll go south. But I have seen no evidence myself of that occurring.
No,
I mean, this had a bit of a burst of energy when I popped the top off, but I didn't see it. You know, I had that same burst on another beer earlier that was just rotten. It was all foam. This is nothing like that. I mean, it just had a sort of burst of air coming out of it, or CO2 coming out of it, but it's drinking fantastic. I've got 3 left, so I was just elated when I opened this. Well, I had 4 left, and I was just elated when I opened this, and it was like it's the same feeling I had on the Bourbon County, where I opened it and I took a sip, and I'm like, this is awesome.
Again, what we're hearing through the grapevine, I would say if you got them, smoke them.
Yeah.
Pick them up.
No,
well, and that goes, you know, we could do, I think we do have some plans to do some shows on cellaring and cellar raids and things of that nature. And, you know, there's a time to drink it, and I think the time is now on this one. Beer does not last forever. It does break down over time, and some beers lend themselves to longer cellaring than others. But at the end of the day, you do buy them to drink them, don't you?
Yes.
And I always tell people, what if I get hit by a bus tomorrow? I'll have all this great beer that I'll have to leave to my friends.
Yeah, every day is a special occasion.
Is there anything that the brewers could be doing that could be, you know, we're not insinuating anything here, you know, this is stuff that said you've heard through the grapevine. Now, is there anything that the brewers could be doing on their end that could be causing this?
Oh, yeah. Infection can be anything from a sanitation issue to a little bit of something getting in the beer as it's brewing, a little bit of something after fermentation, something in the bottle. It could be an unclean bottle. I mean, you could have 1 out of 100,000 bottles be infected because 1 bottle was not sanitized. So it just depends. Anything can change off layers of a beer.
Well, and to go with that, you know, your barrel aging. So it could have been something in the wood of the barrels, and it could be that one specific barrel was not right. And that could lead to quite a few contaminated bottles, whereas the rest of the barrels are fine, which could lead to other bottles being no problem at all.
That's exactly what I was going to add. Dugout, you hit the nail on the head. If you get 1 bad barrel and then you blend a bunch of barrels into 1 batch, that's why you get like 1 bottle that's fine, and then you get another bottle that, you know, the bug is in there, hit or miss. And I think that's what we're seeing. But it's science, it's microbiology. And
it's living organisms, so
yes.
Exactly.
It's bacteria, it's yeast. When they're your friends, you get great stuff. When you find something funky, it may turn out anyway.
And there's some people that actually, some of the beers that turn into sours, and some people actually revere those.
Yeah, but you try to direct them into a good sour, not into a, you know, it tastes like bad apple juice sour.
I remember tasting in a tasting class, tasting a British beer that had been infected, and there was a guy in the room that said, "Oh, let me drink all that. That tastes just like a Flanders Red." And I actually tasted it. It tasted pretty good. It was like a good quality sour, but it was nothing what it was supposed to be. So
you can infect something and have it be an accident, and still be a good accident.
Yeah, we like happy accidents.
Mm-hmm. Now, wasn't the first Dark Side of the Moon an accident? It was supposed to be flowers, but it went bad.
Oh, the Bury Vivant.
Yeah.
Correct?
Wasn't the whole IPA style an accident?
No.
Oh, I thought we talked about on our IPA episode. It was kind of an accident with being brought overseas, kind of a byproduct. They put extra yeast in the barrel.
An accident so much as you were just hyping it up so it wouldn't fade as much.
Oh, they were adding
concentrating your coffee.
They were adding extra hops to preserve the beer on that trip around Cape Horn to India.
Maybe the flavor was an accident, but the addition of ingredients was on purpose for other reasons.
Gotcha.
And it got to the point where the people in England are like, "Hey, that's pretty good. Don't send that all to India. We want some too." And they kind of the style evolved from that story, supposedly. Nice one, Dugout. I wish I was joining you on that hipster. I know how good it is, and our advice to our listeners: if you have that hipster again and you got it, smoke it.
Yep, I know you got one there, JR. So
yep. Fortunately, I did drink several of mine fresh when they were, still good. Which, as you discovered tonight, they are still good, or at least some of them are still good. But there is warning in the air. So to err on the side of caution, I just drink them up as fast as you can in the event that they are going to deteriorate rapidly. I know I'm more wide awake now than I was when I started this show. Everybody else get a little caffeine boost?
Oh, yeah.
You know, I wonder, how much caffeine...
Yeah, I'm a little
actually
flush here.
Do we know how much caffeine actually gets in the beer?
I do
Are there
not.
any
That is
studies
interesting.
that a coffee beer has so many milligrams?
It's significant. I know that, and I was saying to JR, I purposely don't keep these around the house because most of my beer drinking is done later at night, unless it's a Friday or Saturday night where I don't have to get up in the morning. Coffee beer will keep me awake till 2 or 3 in the morning. It's not quite as strong as a cup of coffee, but it of course depends on the beer and how much coffee is in there. Something like Cup of Joe is going to be loaded. I'm sure that's every bit the equivalent of a cup of coffee on a 12-ounce beer. I know that when we were making beer with coffee in it, I'd say per 5 gallons was the equivalent of 2 pots of coffee used in that 5-gallon batch. So it's fairly significant.
Well, I've been looking online, and it seems to be that technically selling coffee, alcohol with caffeine is maybe not a good thing legally.
Yes.
So
No, it's a very bad thing, and there's horror stories coming out almost daily on how bad it really is for you. And that's why I keep these sort of, every once in a while I have one. I don't go search them out because it throws my body into a confusion state.
Well, yeah,
the stimulus and the depressant.
Well, yeah, technically one chemical's telling your heart to chill out and the other chemical's trying to speed you up. So as I said, cardiologists won't be a fan of this show, but...
All right, well, it's time to finally try my homebrew. I think all the other guys' homebrews have already been sampled on the show, so I'm the last man
Was Uncle Pete sampled on the show?
No, I don't
No,
think
this is the IPA, right? I guess we haven't had his.
He's been busy.
I hope he still has some. But we definitely tried yours, Doug, the triple. All right.
That was so good that it was one of them beers that it grew on people. Some of the folks around the house here and my neighbors and things like that started to really enjoy it, and all of a sudden, bang, it was gone.
And that's a good feeling when that happens, though, because then you know you've done a good job. So
It was very good, and it smelled good. It had a great smell.
So we're going to now sample my homebrew, the Irish Car Bomb Stout, brewed with Irish cream flavored coffee, vanilla beans, and Tullamore Dew Irish whiskey. So everybody take a sip, and I'll be quiet and let you critique my beer. Chris, why don't you start out?
Listen, right away, I mean, you get the vanilla right on the nose. Get your nose in there. I think it's probably a combination of the vanilla and the Irish cream. I mean, it's... Again, we're super dark. Got a nice head on it. I mean, you taste it. It's got the... Once again, we got a creamy mouthfeel. I mean, and it's coffee, it's vanilla, it's the Irish cream. It's everything from front to back. This is really, really, really good.
It's what you would expect if you got a drinker bar.
Yeah. This is as advertised with what you call it, and it's not a bad thing.
No.
Well, that was the goal, and the creamy mouthfeel is from the flaked oats. So the oatmeal gives it a fuller body. When Dugout and I collaborated together last year and did a batch of Imperial Stout, we used flaked oats in it. Really, that batch was really nice solid mouthfeel like this. So I kind of put that in because of that batch. The changes I made to the original recipe that I came up with were when I went to the homebrew store, I was using Maris Otter, which is a European malt. I wanted to try to get that European, since it's an Irish style stout. And had I used what I was told at my homebrew meeting when this was critiqued is one of the things, issues I had, it was supposed to be stronger. It was supposed to be about 7.5%, and it's only around a little over 6.1%. So they told me that if I had used American two-row malt instead of the Maris Otter, I probably would have got around 7.5. But the Maris Otter usually is harder to get the sugars out. I'm not exactly sure why, but the people at the meeting have been brewing a long time, a lot longer than I, and I trust they're gurus of the trade, and I trust their opinions. So I'm going to try this again with using American Two-Row instead of the Maris Otter. And they said, hey, if you're going to use the Maris Otter, you should probably mash it longer to get more sugars out. So that would be the one change I would make. And I was also told that I put coffee in the boil, which made it even more coffee bitterness, like that black, dark, roasty coffee. And they said if they wanted it to be less bitter, to not put the coffee into the boil and just do it in the jar like I did. Because what I did is I took 4 ounces of coffee, put it in the boil with 10 minutes before I was finished. And then I took an additional 4 ounces, put it in a mason jar with 2 vanilla beans and 12 ounces of Tullamore Dew Irish whiskey. That sat in the jar for roughly 3 weeks, and then when I was ready to keg the batch, I filled a French press up with the contents of the jar and some of the stout, topped it off, let it sit there for 20 minutes, racked it into the keg, and then racked the stout on top of it. Left on vacation and came back a week later, and it was fully carved and ready to go, and here we are drinking it. So
I find nothing bitter about this beer, so, I mean,
No, I don't either. I think it's phenomenal, and this is coming from somebody who absolutely loathes flavored coffee. I find it disgusting and artificial. This is a pleasant surprise that the Irish cream flavor has come into here, and maybe it's the addition of the vanilla into it that's sort of taken that artificial, what would have been to me artificial flavor out of it. I think it's great. The body's a little lighter than what I was expecting, but I think a couple things happened on that brew day that maybe the guys in your club didn't know either. You know, you probably could have 90-minute boiled this rather than 60 and taken made your wort a little more concentrated. That would have brought up the levels of it. I remember we were getting down, and you still had a whole lot of liquid in that brew kettle. So that makes a big difference on your ABV. But as far as flavor goes, it's dead on. I think it's fantastic, and I'm not sure I would change a whole lot on it. I really wouldn't.
I mean, Irish Car Bomb is supposed to be an Irish Car Bomb. It's whiskey and coffee and Baileys. It's not supposed to be some complex, gourmet, dark lit bar, cool, retro cocktail. It's supposed to be simple, what it is, a little boozy, a little coffee, a little sweet. And that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, very well done, John.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a home run.
Thank you. I don't know if you
actually, this really makes me more anxious to try Uncle Pete's beer from that day because, I mean, we're essentially 2 for 2. I'm very curious to see what that third beer came out like.
All right. Well, I do recall extending the boil on this dugout, but I think I only went about 75 minutes. Yeah, I probably could have let it go a little longer and concentrated it more. And it seemed
and you were on a different stove. You were on my stove for the first time. I mean, that's a lot. There's a lot of variables in there that go in that make changes in the beer. But you know, we've already brought this up several times in shows, and we've already brought it up today. It's a happy accident that it didn't get to where what you were planning it to be, but where it got to is awesome. So my hat's off to you on that.
The Homebrewers Creed, relax, don't worry, have a homebrew. That's what we're doing. I'm glad everybody's enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. And
I like it.
That was a really fun day. Andy was a guest with us that day, and we had several guests pop by, and it was just a really fun time, and I look forward to the next time that the three of us can get together and do that again. I'm glad the beers are turning out good, and I'm really looking forward to trying Uncle Pete's. So normally we do our beer of the week, brewery of the week. It's going to be kind of difficult to do because not all of us tasted all the beers. Should we have a beer of the week? Should we have a brewery of the week?
It would be kind of difficult seeing as how not everybody had everything. My vote would be for the homebrew anyway, which kind of goes against the people being able to get them.
I'll take the shameless plug any day. So.
Yeah.
Thank you. So this week's beer of the week is my homebrew.
There we go.
There we go. Did you ever come up with a name for it?
It's got like 3 different names, so for 3 different groups of people, but really just Irish Car Bomb Stout. I called it Irish Coffee Stout to one group, Irish Car Bomb Stout to another group, and Connie O'Fockers.
So if you put this on Untapped, can we check this in?
Yeah, I think it's under Connie O'Fockers Irish Car Bomb Stout. It might be Connie O'Fockers Car Bomb Stout.
It should be O'Feckers.
It should be O'Feckers, but
you didn't want to swear.
Something like that. So, yes, it is on Untapped, so if you'd like to check in, it's under Grosse Ile Brewery, I believe.
Should we create a Beer Nuts account on Untapped? where we could all have access to it? Is that
I
possible?
believe we could.
Yeah, I believe there's a new feature on it for Business on Tap, but I don't know if there's a cost associated. I'm assuming there is some sort of a cost associated with that. You can register your brewery as your own.
I'll make one for the show. And then we'll give everyone the login, and then we can all use it.
We can all see how much we drink.
So I guess what we've learned tonight is we really want to try Uncle Pete's beer to see if we're 3 for 3. And tonight's beer of the week, even though it's supposed to be my homebrew, I'm going to call it all of our 3 homebrews, the 3 Amigos from the brewery day, because Dugouts was phenomenal. I'm going to guess that Pete's is going to be pretty darn good.
Pete's is going to be good by de facto. That's what we're going with.
Pete's is always good.
That's true.
Chris, you want to do the closing ceremony here?
Thank you for downloading Beer Nuts for free on iTunes or from ChristopherMedia.net. Please make sure to rate Beer Nuts 5 stars on iTunes and help to tell others about Beer Nuts by leaving a comment. Thank you for following Beer Nuts on Twitter at Beer Nuts Podcast and on Instagram at Beer Nuts Podcast. Please like the Beer Nuts Podcast on Facebook to like and share the Beer Nuts Podcast. If you'd like to donate to the Beer Nuts Podcast, you can click on the PayPal button at ChristopherMedia.net.
One final plug, I'd like to beg Uber for a sponsorship, because it would be great if we could all Uber together and take the show together at least a couple times a year. Uber, come on, man, get with it.
Well, I think we're going to start doing it once a month. I think I can afford to Uber everybody back and forth once a month.
All right.
Get us all in one room once a month, because it's more fun that way.
That would be fantastic. Come on, Uber, step up, sponsor us. Everybody that drinks craft beer needs a ride, and nobody needs to get in trouble legally, so come on, help us out here.
We have no shame, Lyft, if you're out there.
We will pimp you up. Yeah. We'll put your
any
banners all over
service,
our
really.
websites. We'll plug you on the show. Just give us a lift, or we'll call Lyft instead.
And I just want my own personal plug. I'm getting nothing for this, just because I just want to say this because it's a good app and it's helped me find a lot of good beer on the road. Beermenus.com. I don't know if any of you guys use that app, but it's pretty kick-ass. It tells me where beer is around me, it'll do stores, it'll do restaurants, it'll tell you what's on tap, how much it is. It's come quite handy for traveling. I've been able to find all sorts of stuff. It's helpful.
I'm going to have to give that a try. I mean, I've been using the Untapped nearby feature. And for example, a couple weeks ago I was in Wisconsin and I hit the nearby feature and found out that the establishment right across the parking lot from my hotel had just tapped a keg of Founders KBS, and bang, I was there.
Yahtzee.
Yeah.
What I can tell you is Beer Menus is like an entire app that's just the nearby feature, and it's how I found an awesome shop that's pretty much like not even a half mile from my house. I've been having to drive far, and there's one like less than a half mile from the house, and I've gone to it for the last 3 weeks. So yeah, Beer Menus.
Oh, no kidding. Which place is that, Chris?
It's called Shores Canteen.
Oh, Shores. Yeah. Okay. All right.
It's ridiculous in there. Which shout out to those guys. Every time I've gone in there so far, I've gotten something free.
And those are good people in there too. Those are really nice people.
Yeah, every purchase I've made so far, they've given me something free. Whether it's been a bottle of beer, some glasses, or so. It's today they let me bust for our episode next week for the bells. They let me bust up like a bunch of 6-packs to get what I needed. So
right on.
Shout out to those guys. But anyway,
well, I'm going to tell you. I just went on Twitter and followed. It's at Beer Menus is their Twitter. So
yeah, but it's
we're going to give a little shout out to our beermenus.com. Follow them on Twitter at Beer Menus. I'm in. I'm going to download their app this week.
That being said, guys, should we wrap this one up?
Okay.
All right, so we're going to let Andy wrap up the show with our classic. And before I do this, when you listen to Andy, click on Win This Glass on MichiganBeerDive.com. I still got about a half a dozen glasses I'd like to give away. Go to Win This Glass and listen to what Andy has to say here. So take it away, Andy. Where are we going? As they say in
Old Mexico.
Old Mexico City.
Adios, motherfuckers.
AMF.
AMF.
If you enjoy this show and want more people to know about it, head on over to iTunes, leave a comment, and rate it 5 stars. Make sure you like and share us on Facebook, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter. Just search for Christopher Media. Thank you in advance for supporting Christopher Media by clicking on the PayPal button and by clicking through to all the sponsors who support ChristopherMedia.net. Most importantly, we would like to take the time to extend an extra special thanks to you. Christopher Media could not exist without your support. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net, and thank you for listening. Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
It's a new year, and with T-Mobile, it's not about how far apart we are. It's about how close we can be. So we're bringing out our best deal. Right now, get the iPhone 12 on us on every single plan with eligible iPhone trade-in.
So I can FaceTime with my sister in Savannah.
That's right, the iPhone 12 on us on every plan. All on America's 5G leader in coverage. T-Mobile.
With 24 monthly bill credits and a new line plus tax. If you cancel, credit stop and balance on required finance agreement may be due. Contact us for well-qualified buyers. Qualifying consumer plan required. See coverage and offer details at T-Mobile.com.
It's a new year, and with T-Mobile, it's not about how far apart we are. It's about how close we can be. So we're bringing out our best deal. Right now, get the iPhone 12 on us on every single plan with eligible iPhone trade-in.
So I can FaceTime with my sister in Savannah.
That's right, the iPhone 12 on us on every plan. All on America's 5G leader in coverage. T-Mobile.
With 24 monthly bill credits and a new line plus tax. If you cancel, credit stop and balance on required finance agreement may be due. Contact us.